What kind of nonsense is this?
It's a lot of nonsense.
A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another brand new episode of Untitled Nonsense. My name is Josh Fauner, and today I am joined by Mr. Andrew James. Andrew, welcome back.
Hey, thank you, man. It's good to be back. It's been way too long since I've been on the UN scene, man. I'm looking forward to it.
We have not had you on UN airwaves in way too long, and you have been sorely missed, my good friend.
Oh,
sorely
well, thank
missed.
you. Thank you.
So let's get this cavalcade of nonsense underway, shall we?
Indeed.
So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the election decision 2016, as it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I figure doing something along the lines of, shall I say, a frenemy, topic would be kind of fun.
Crossfire action.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Preferably without the douchiness, but
Right. A little bit of Hannity and Combs for independence.
Indeed. A little bit of Hannity and Combs for the libertarian, constitutionalist-minded, yeah. And
I'm a little bit more liberal than you are. You're a little bit more conservative than I am. It works out.
And what's really funny is that for me, I get a lot of people who keep telling me, you're too conservative. I get a lot of my liberal friends saying, well, you're far too conservative for me. Mm-hmm. And then I get a lot of the conservatives saying, you're way too liberal for me.
I can't tell you how much I hear that.
So, I think we're probably in the same boat with just different views on different things. So we just come from, different sides of the spectrum on various issues, which is fun. But,
yeah, absolutely. So, I know you said you had a list. You've done your homework. You came prepared for the show.
Yeah.
Which is more than I can say for most of the other co-hosts that have been on the fucking show.
Well, I don't want to speak badly about my predecessors, or any of those that I actually knew while I was here. That's just me.
Remind me to tell you about what happened with Cam later.
Okay.
I don't think that we've ever talked about that, have we?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, we'll go into that later.
Okay. Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
By the way, Behringer Xenix. Keep that in mind. Behringer Xenix Q1202 USB 12 input 2 bus mixer. Definitely check it out. Okay, moving on. Basically, here's the deal. Like, we've got a whole bunch of candidates that are running for president.
Yeah.
You've got two major candidates running for the Democratic ticket. Mm-hmm. I think there are
4 left. No, 3 left.
3 left.
Mm-hmm.
3 left on the Republican side.
Yep.
Okay. Kasich, he's still in it, but not actually in it. Mm-hmm. But for
he's holding out. He's that holdout, like that guy who is grasping on with like one finger, waiting for everybody else to quit so that he can be the last man standing by one finger and 1 second, and then he can let go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's holding on by, as Job would say, the skin of his teeth. So so look, there are pros and there are cons to every single candidate.
Wait. There are you're gonna sit there right in front of me, actually, the first time we've actually broadcast right in front of each other. You're gonna sit there and look me in the eyes and tell me that Trump has pros?
Yes.
Carson
has pros.
Hillary
has pros.
Well.
Sanders, pros.
Sanders definitely has pros.
Yeah.
I know that much.
Yeah,
definitely.
Of course, he's got a list of cons, too, and so does Hillary.
Huge list of cons.
And so does Hillary.
Yeah.
Which could maybe piss off some of your Democratic listeners or more liberal listeners, but,
Oh, fuck them. I don't look honestly. It's not that I'm trying to piss off people. I don't care. Like, the thing of it is, this election. This is the first real election where I've identified as libertarian. So this is the first election where I've kind of been viewing it from an outsider's point of view. I'm from the outside looking in, if you will. I'm just overlooking the whole process. All these rats running around, being lied to. Well, not rats. They're all sheep, really.
Sheeple.
But yeah, where do we want to start? Do we want to start Democrats or Republicans?
I'll let you choose. Just so it's very clear that there's no
bias.
Bias.
You got a coin?
Nope, I don't actually.
Mm.
Go to cointoss.com.
All right. Coin toss. All right. Heads, it's Democrats. Tails, it's Republicans.
Sounds good to me.
And it's heads. So.
All right.
Let's start with Democrats.
All right. Give me a candidate.
Let's start with Bernie. Let's start with Bernie.
You want to start with Mr. Bernie?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you feeling the burn?
I know a lot of people are feeling the burn.
And there's a good reason why.
Absolutely, there is.
There are good reasons why. Bernie is number one, and and understand the whole presidential candidate, the whole presidential campaign, the entire election year is literally being fueled off people wanting change. They want change.
Absolutely,
they want things to change.
Because Obama ran on the word change
and hope and change,
and nothing happened.
A lot of people really do feel that way. There are some folks that are still saying, "No, we've got hope and we've got change." I actually know, and this is hysterical, that I actually know several conservatives who say, "No, there is hope and change. He brought hope and change in." Okay, now.
I'll give it. There was a little bit of change because of Obamacare, but
Yep.
The only thing that changed is it gave the Republicans something to go to their constituents and say, you need to vote me in so that we can keep fighting this.
Well, the way that I've heard it worded is that there's a lot more change in our pockets and a lot fewer dollars, and that there's a lot more hope for the future solely because, well, they say it can't get worse, but as a good friend of mine recently stated, don't tempt worse.
Don't tempt worse?
Don't tempt worse.
What do you mean?
Okay, so let's go back several years, and you've got an election year in California, and none other than Arnie Schwarzenegger decides to step into the ring for governor. By all
accounts, though, he was a really good governor.
Okay, and everyone was saying, well, it can't get worse than the guy we've currently got in there, and then you get Arnold. Unfortunately, even though he was a good governor in a lot of respects, he screwed the state of California in some of the areas that were most necessary. Like, for instance, as far as the teachers go.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Education went downhill.
And energy.
Energy.
Fucked up on energy.
Yeah, big time. And so worse was tempted, and worse took the form of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go ahead and you take a look at during the Clinton era.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, a lot of people were saying it can't get worse, and then we got Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Bush 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In a lot of respects, and people are gonna want to crucify me for this. In a lot of respects, he was a good president, but he was also really bad.
Yup.
Okay. And as a result, worse. And then, well, it couldn't get worse than Bush, and we got Obama. Don't tempt worse.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in that respect, you see what's being said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I understand. So with Bernie, what do you have on your list of pros?
Well, Bernie does represent change. Okay, and a lot of people are looking for change. They want to see something different.
Yep.
They want to see something new, and they
Mm-hmm.
really want to see someone who's, for all intents and purposes, outside the Beltway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bernie has been in politics. He is a politician. But he's been so universally loathed by a lot of the establishment,
Yep.
in spite of being, welcomed into the Democratic fold. He's been virtually loathed by everyone around him.
Yeah.
And because of that, people that are actually doing the voting
Love him.
love him. So you've got the love of the people behind him.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's outside the Beltway,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's outside, he's an outsider, he's a black sheep, that's actually one of his pros. People are gravitating to him because of the fact that he doesn't look at things with the mindset of a politician, at least from the way that they're seeing him.
I just and I understand what you're saying, but I just think that he doesn't look at the way in the mindset of a politician, as like you said, as they understand it. He's still looking at it from the mindset of a politician, but we've never had a democratic socialist politician.
Well, that there could be an entire show done on democratic socialism and why or why not that doesn't actually work, but we'll keep from that rabbit trail.
Right now, at least. Yeah.
Rabbit trail closed. Use next exit. The one of the things that he really does have going for him is his concept for revamping economics in the U.S. as it currently stands. I don't personally agree with this, with his method of doing this. I think that's something that absolutely does need to be done.
Right.
The economic layout that we're currently dealing with in this country sucks in a really big way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also one of the only ones in the race who has actually put forward a plan on how to.
This is true.
Okay.
He's the only one of the only ones who's actually put out concrete numbers.
Exactly.
Actual numbers.
Exactly.
And figures.
Exactly. So he's got and that's one of the pros that he's got going.
Absolutely.
One of the other things that he has is, ironically, not a fan of Obamacare. Which you would figure he would be, because he is a democratic socialist.
No, he wants single payer.
Yeah.
He wants full blown universal health care.
Exactly. You would think that he would support Obamacare because Obamacare is based upon single payer.
Right.
But it's not.
It's not good enough for him.
Exactly.
Not good enough for crazy Uncle Bernie.
That's it. So that is another thing that he's got going for him. That's another pro, at least in the minds of those who are supporting him.
Okay.
And on the grand scheme of things, the way that the nation is currently positioned, single payer might actually work.
I disagree. I feel like something that when we talk about single payer and we talk about how it's worked in other countries and all this kind of thing, how it works in other countries, the thing that we don't talk about is how much smaller those fucking countries are than the United States. How much smaller the population is, how much smaller they are.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to. There's not as much of a burden.
Mm-hmm.
And with a single payer healthcare system in the United States, I don't think it'd work because it's just too big.
Well, no, it's not so much that it's too big, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't quite get. It's not that the U.S. is too big; it's that we don't allocate funds properly. We mismanage funds on a astronomical level.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, okay. I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
And as a result, because single payer in other countries takes so much money in the form of taxes from its people, they're still able to get universal health care. They're able to get universal education, okay, which is another thing that Sanders is pushing for, okay. But they're also spending roughly 70 to 80% of their yearly income on taxes.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
And here in the U.S., that couldn't work as it currently stands because of the fact that all of the tax money, all of the tax income, all of the tax revenue that's being brought into the federal government is being apportioned to stupid things.
Department of Defense.
Golden toilet seats.
NASA cut. Oh, sorry, I had frog in my throat.
Yeah. So, stupid things. In order for a single payer system to actually work, there would have to be a lot of cuts to a lot of different things, a lot of real genuine pet projects as far as the federal government's concerned. And so as a result, you've got, trouble in regards to that. Now,
Absolutely.
if and this is why I say it would work, the way they were positioned, we are already accustomed to paying high taxes.
Not that high.
Not that high, but we're already accustomed to paying high taxes. If in one fell swoop, in one presidential year, in 4 years, okay, one presidential term, Bernie was able to put in place a single payer system, cut all of these stupid programs that don't really do a damn thing, okay, and be able to put it off so that the cuts take place before the single payer goes into effect.
Yeah.
At that point, it could work. It's feasible. It's just not likely. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. The pro is the fact that he is touting something that is feasible.
Okay. Now, how much of an increase in taxes would we be seeing? Like, for instance, right now, and I understand he wants to tax more the rich, and that we could argue about that all day. I personally don't agree with it, but
yeah,
I'm a capitalist. What can I say? I'm a capitalist pig. What can I say? But I don't think that just raising the taxes on the rich is going to end up being enough.
No. See, he is, and this actually, I'm sort of about ready to sort of teeter over into the cons, but he is a full-blown revolutionary.
And I don't like that he's throwing around the word revolution.
But that's exactly what he's looking for.
I know.
Okay, he is a full-blown revolutionary. What he is looking to do is level the playing field for everyone, whether they work or whether they don't. He is looking to level the playing field for people who have literally amassed millions by the sweat of their own brow,
right,
and those who have simply inherited millions or billions. Okay, he's looking to level the playing field so that people who are at the lowest bracket in terms of income, or just in terms of their personal wealth, which is a joke for most of America, okay, are on the same level in terms of well-being, in terms of quality of life, etc., as
the 1%.
The 1%. The problem with this is that the 1% also happen to be the most or the majority of employers here in the U.S.
Exactly.
They are literally in the position they are because of the fact that they have created success. They've created successful businesses. They've created successful, industries.
For the most part, absolutely, I agree with you.
And I remember, I'm speaking to the most part. Exactly. I'm not talking about the ones that have inherited their millions or their billions.
The Walton family.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah. I'm talking about the ones who, and I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but I'm going to use two names that people tend to despise. Okay, you've got the guy that created Virgin, Richard Branson. Okay, and then you've got none other than Donald Trump. These are two individuals who have literally worked to create the wealth that they have, and they have also created jobs. There is a story out there that Trump employs, the majority of his employees are illegal immigrants. Ironically, he actually employs a very small percent of illegal immigrants, and he actually has a department within his corporation that is its sole intent is actually to help them become citizens,
Oh, really?
which most people don't know and has been buried by the media. Richard Branson is a visionary in and of himself, and in terms of an employer,
Yeah, and he is as much of a douchebag as he is as a person, and he is a complete and total prick. But I don't think anybody can deny the fact that he is a brilliant mind.
and the fact that he, in the midst of our economic meltdown, downturn, recession, depression, he upped the pay for his employees to offset the economic issues that the U.S. was having.
Right.
And he also started giving mothers, expectant mothers, 6 months of maternity leave paid.
Now, you know why that is. Because he's from Australia. That's the law in Australia. So he's used to that. So he was just extending what he's used to because of the troubles that we're having. Which, that just because he did a nice thing doesn't mean he's make anything else he's done any good. But
but this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These are individuals
Absolutely.
who have worked to get what they have, and they do employ a very large percent of people here in the U.S., which is interesting. And there are a lot of other people that are on that list. Some people I'm not even all that keen on. Like, for instance, I really dislike Jay-Z. I'm not a fan of his.
We'll have to get into that later.
I nearly got into a flame war with, someone who represented him, but
we're getting into that later. I'm writing that down right now. Bring up Jay-Z later.
But he and with his Rockaware and everything that he has put into place, he now employs a large percentage of
He's
the U.S.
population. He's a brilliant
population.
businessman.
He really is. And here's the thing: I give due credit. I give credit where it's due, and I give props where they are where they need to be.
Absolutely.
And as much as I dislike him in a lot of respects, he is brilliant. He is a brilliant businessman. And people like Kanye West, like Beyonce, for instance, out of the music world, and then you've got just there's a whole slew of other people, but these are all folks in the 1%. Now, if you wind up giving them, say, 80% tax on their income,
right,
and you're only taxing, say, 3% or 2% on the lowest tier, unfortunately, you're going to find a whole lot more people in that lowest tier.
Exactly. By choice.
By choice, and then also because the people at the top 1% leave the country.
That's true, too. They will take their money and go elsewhere.
The companies move, and then they move also. They're no longer American citizens at that point, and this has happened in every country that has ever actually attempted to implement this sort of a thing.
And it's going to be even worse now that FATCA is getting enforced. Do you know that they are shutting down Americans' bank accounts on site in China when they walk in to even check their balance? If they're an American and they find out they're an American, they will shut it down on site because they don't have the technological infrastructure necessary to report the FATCA statistics that are necessary. And they can't afford to upgrade.
Mhm.
So rather than upgrade, they're just telling the American citizens to fuck off.
Yeah.
Which, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to see a lot more expats, or we're just not going to see as many people leaving the country.
Yeah. When I tend to believe that you're going to see a lot more expats,
As do I.
especially among the 1%.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So there's a a quick going over Bernie Sanders' top pros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the biggest con for him really is the fact that he's looking at turning the entire landscape of the U.S. into something it was never meant to be.
Exactly.
And really, that is where Bernie Sanders lives in a dream world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the changes that he wants to implement on paper, you know how a couple of years back, maybe it was even just last year, I can't remember, but Whoopi Goldberg made the statement that communism looks good on paper, and she got crucified for it.
Yeah, but communism does look good on paper.
Communism does look good on paper.
Fantastic on paper, and anybody who says otherwise is lying.
Yeah, and anything that is born from a socialist structure
Mm-hmm.
looks great on paper.
Yep.
The figures look terrific, but
The human element fucks it up.
always, every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The idea of being a democratic socialist, and here we're going to entertain the rabbit trail just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Entertaining a democratic socialism is akin to entertaining the Hindenburg right before it blows up. Okay?
Yeah.
It never works.
So what you're trying to say is that democratic socialism eventually just becomes socialism.
In every instance. And you're even seeing instances of that now in countries that are labeled democratic socialisms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're all, there are some that are further along in that slide,
Mm-hmm.
but you can see it already taking place if you actually do your research.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things with a lot of voters here in the U.S. is they don't want to do the research themselves. They want to be fed it by the talking heads on their network.
Exactly.
So that's Bernie Sanders for you.
I mean, I can't say I disagree with your pros and cons. I mean, they're pretty good. My whole thing is, big con is how he speaks. He's not a professional speaker.
Well, no.
He's really not. And not even like what he says. What he says is fine. It's how he says it. And we need a president. A president needs to be stately.
I think there's something to be said for being stately without necessarily being a terrific speaker.
But it's like the drunk uncle at Thanksgiving, crazy old Bernie.
Yeah.
That would be like having the drunk uncle from Thanksgiving as president.
Sure.
And
now here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like there are a couple of instances. I'll point out two right off the bat.
Right.
Okay. You've got Calvin Coolidge. Not a terrific speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He was very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
He actually did have an incredibly high IQ. He was also had a very large vocabulary, but he just wasn't a good speaker.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, there is a story where someone attempted, a lady made a wager that she could get him to say more than 2 words at a Christmas party at the White House. And she walked up to him and she said, "Mr. President, I've just made a bet that I can get you to say more than 2 words to me." And he looked at her and said, "You lose," and walked away.
Yep.
That was just the kind of person he was. Mm-hmm. Then you take a look at Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Okay. Say what you like about the 80s recession. There were a whole lot more factors that went into that than just the fact that that Ronald Reagan was president.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific politician in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
Brilliant visionary. in a lot of respects, could not talk on the microphone without going off into stories about his childhood and about his experiences in Hollywood and California and et cetera, et cetera. He was not a speaker.
Well, I think that's a different story. I think that is with Reagan. I think that actually goes in his favor because it's relatability,
Right.
and it's not.
But that's what you're seeing with Bernie.
I don't see
not
that.
Not for you personally.
Yeah.
Not for you personally.
Mhm.
But the people that support him are seeing this a relatable factor.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's what I'm saying. There's something to be said for being stately without necessarily being able to speak.
And as far as the Calvin Coolidge thing goes, I think that was back then. We didn't have social media. We didn't have television. We barely had radio.
Yeah, and now we're sitting on a podcast that, hundreds of thousands and millions of people are going to be listening to. But you get the idea.
No comment.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm looking forward to Untitled nonsense blowing Opie and Anthony out of the water.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know about blowing Opie and Anthony out of the water. It's at least gonna blow the Anthony Cumia show out of the water.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And it already blows Guilty by Association out of the water because that just blows.
There you go.
Brother Joe's show.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is your show does not broadcast from your anal cavity, whereas theirs do.
True.
So
where their head is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thing with Bernie, I feel like he'd make a better vice president than a president.
I would agree with that. I would actually agree with that. There is one caveat.
What's that?
The only other major Democratic candidate is Hillary Clinton.
That's true.
And so, in that respect, if I was being forced at gunpoint to support a Democratic ticket, it would be Sanders Clinton.
Not Clinton Sanders?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine if they did if it would never, ever, 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 ever happen, but if a Republican president with Bernie as vice president?
That would be really interesting, and it actually wouldn't be the first time that there had been a president from one party and a vice president from another.
Right, I know it wouldn't be the first time, but I just think that they'd be too diametrically opposed, but...
Depending.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to take a look at the Republican candidates and see where they actually do agree with Sanders on various issues, even if they don't even realize that they're in agreement with him.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of creepy.
And
actually.
we're not getting into Trump yet, but Trump's a Manhattan Democrat anyway, so they probably have a lot more in common than you think. Anyway, moving on. So that's the pros and cons of Bernie.
The major ones.
The major ones. There are other ones like he's. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, a pro is absolutely the fact that he doesn't have any super PACs. He's completely funded by his supporters.
Yeah.
There's no money from Washington
or the lobbyists or anything like that.
That
that actually I was going to mention that he there's someone like him on the Republican on the Republican side also. But he is specifically not taking money from lobbyists. He's not taking money from super PACs or anything along those lines.
Yep.
He's not taking money from major political groups solely because that way, if he were to become president, he would not owe anyone anything.
Mm-hmm.
There are no favors that he owes
in
a Bernie Sanders White House.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, and so that actually was going to be one of my major pros that I unfortunately forgot to mention. But yeah, that's totally
Now, unfortunately, the same can't be said for our next candidate, Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. Okay,
Hillary.
yeah. So undeniably, she has got far more cons than she's got pros. And I'm sorry if you are a Hillary supporter, if you are a
Yeah.
Clinton supporter,
The mistress is a Hillary supporter, and
if you're a Clinton supporter, you are doing either one of two things. Either you have your head all the way up your butt, okay? Either you've got your head all the way up your butt,
Yep.
or you're choosing to focus on what she supports as opposed to the cons that she brings along with it.
and I think that's where we are with that.
And I think a lot more people are actually choosing to focus on what she's good at versus
And kind of blocking their ears and going la 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 about everything else.
yeah. And you know, I've met her. Not Hillary Clinton. I've met your lovely lady.
The mistress. Yep.
Absolutely an amazing young lady.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talk about Clinton supporters, I'm really talking about
The overall group. You're not talking about individuals.
right.
And I think that should be clear for every politician that we talk about here. We're not singling anybody out. We're not trying to make enemies. This political season has just been so fucking cutthroat.
It really has been.
People are like, and that's the thing. I rant and rave and yell about Trump on my Facebook, but I see people going, "If you support Trump, delete me.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know you."
Yeah. And here's a scary thing though, is that this political season, this campaign season was shaping up to be cutthroat even before Trump entered the ring.
Yeah,
Okay, so
just with Hillary and Bernie alone.
yeah, and as many people want to be able to blame that on Trump, it can't be blamed on Trump because it was already getting to that point.
He just made it that much worse.
He just made it worse. Yeah. And we're not there yet.
We're not even there yet. Yeah.
But yeah, he did make it worse, but it was already cutthroat long before he threw his hat in the ring.
Absolutely. So anyway, that preface, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
This whole conversation, this whole topic, we're talking about politicians. We're talking about the politician themselves. We're not talking about any individual specific supporter. We're
Absolutely.
not bashing anybody.
Absolutely.
And when we say shit like sheeple and that kind of thing.
What we're actually talking about, and if I talk about dumb Clinton supporters or,
Mhm.
or ignoramuses or something like that, if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the people that actually genuinely bear that title.
And if you look around you, you will see them.
Yeah, exactly.
You will see them.
Exactly. For instance, and again, I'm going to go back to Trump just to illustrate this.
Mhm.
I know people who support Trump that can look around at other people who support him and go, "They're morons. These are friggin' robots. They're trumpets.
Trumpkins.
Trumpkins. Exactly.
As my dear friend Mookie put it, Trumpkins. Yep.
Yeah, and I honestly believe that can be said for any supporter of any candidate. You're going to be able to look around and you're going to be able to see the morons within your own group.
Exactly.
And that's just
that's the thing. The bigger a group gets, statistically, the more morons you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like George Carlin said, think about the dumbest person you know, and then realize most people are dumber than that.
Yeah. George Carlin, God bless him. I'm sorry, not God bless him. He didn't believe in God. Spiral cut handful of grace. Anyway, may he rest in peace. So
spiral cut ham, spiral cut ham, spiral cut ham, spiral cut ham. Sorry, we watched The Room last night with riff tracks, and
only way to watch The Room, by the way.
Andrew had never seen The Room. We introduced him to The Room.
Thank you so much. Now I know the name Wiseau, and I freaking despise you forever for that. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think anybody should go their life without knowing the name Tommy Wiseau. Everybody should have Tommy Wiseau in their life.
If for no other reason, then you now have a way of illustrating exactly how stupid someone can be.
Exactly.
Okay, so Hillary Clinton, she's actually got pros. And
yeah, she
you know,
does.
and there are a lot of people out there who believe otherwise, but she really does. She's got some incredible things going for her. As the first lady, she was able to get, you know, a much broader picture and a much clearer picture of what the president's duties actually are.
Absolutely.
Without being involved in the day-to-day executive duties of the president.
She can watch it from the outside.
In a manner of speaking,
and like observe.
And there are a lot of people that say, well, no, she definitely injected herself. Well, she injected herself into campaigns.
Every first lady does.
Yep, she injected herself into the campaigns. She injected herself into initiatives and so on and so forth. But she did not specifically push forward anything. She didn't, because she literally didn't have that power.
Exactly.
Then, of course, she has served in various other aspects.
Ambassador, Secretary of State, Congresswoman. That's one of her pros, definitely. She not only has political experience, she has foreign policy experience. A lot of foreign policy experience. And that's something a lot of the other candidates don't have.
Yeah. So those are some major pros for her. Of course, she's very much a woman's rights advocate.
Absolutely, great women's rights advocate.
And so in that regard, I don't necessarily agree with the length to which she goes, because I think that with anything you support, you can go too far. Okay. With anything you support, I'm a Christian. Okay. I'll use my faith as an example here.
Westboro Baptist.
Okay. Not even that, because I don't even consider them Christians.
Okay, fair enough. Neither do I.
Okay. But if I were to sit here and turn the entire show into a rant about how people need Jesus Christ,
right?
Okay.
It's going way too far.
I'm not doing anyone any favors.
No.
Okay.
Least of all my audience.
Okay, I can go too far
all
with that.
All three of you.
3 million. But so with anything that you support, you can go too far. But with that being said, she is an incredible women's rights advocate. Now, one of the things that I have found very interesting with the Clinton-Sanders competition, is that Sanders has been pushing her further and further. She's been forced to stand and advocate for things that you haven't heard her advocate for. And I've been discovering as I've been watching in my research, that some of these things she's just paying lip service to.
Okay.
But from the time that she's first advocated something to the present where she's advocating the same things, she's become a believer in a lot of different things. Like, for instance, the fact that Obamacare needs to change.
Okay.
That was something she was full supporter of Obamacare.
Yeah,
she loved the idea. She was all for it. But now we're seeing where she's actually come to the point where she actually believes that there needs to be a change in the way that it's run and in the way that it's managed, and even in some of its mechanisms, that some of these mechanisms actually need to change because they're faulty.
And here's what I have to say about people who say that's a flip-flop. I think a flip-flop is something where it is like demonstrably changed within a short period of time. Hillary's view on that changed because she saw the program put to work.
Yeah.
She saw the flaws inherent in the system through it being put through its paces.
Yeah.
And it knows those now.
Yeah.
So I don't consider that a flip-flop at all.
Right. And usually the thing with flip-flops is that they can be characterized by the fact that the person will flip to supporting one thing and then flop back to their default position.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, what we're seeing with Hillary is not a flip flop. She has very genuinely gotten to the point where she believes that there needs to be change.
Yeah.
And so that's another pro. So we're at like 3 or 4 pros for Hillary.
She's a fantastic speaker, too.
Okay, and she is a fantastic speaker.
And she has it a lot harder than the other candidates, because she has to keep composed.
Mm-hmm.
She has to, otherwise she's the crazy bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of the things that they hurl at her, I mean, the other candidates get to react to differently.
Yeah.
So she also has that as a pro. I consider that a pro.
As much as I don't want to say this, it goes against everything that I personally care about, hold near and dear. Okay. A lot of her difficulty comes from the fact that she is a woman
In a
running
club.
for president. Okay? And a lot of that does come from the fact that she's a woman running for president. Now, going to cons, okay?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that she has going against her is the fact that she's a woman running for president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And again, I know I'm going to get crucified. And
let me get the hammer and nails. Hang on.
Yeah. And definitely, by all means, throw some sound effects in there. I'm sure it's going to happen. But no, here's the thing. When you're looking for a presidential nominee who is a woman, you need someone who is stable. You need someone who is virtually blameless. You need someone who can put forward a record that is, for all intents and purposes, spotless.
Well, we can't fucking elect the Virgin Mary.
Well, no, you're not going to be able to find that. But what I'm saying is you need to find someone who can say, yep, I've had screw-ups, but, I've learned
so
from these
somebody that'll
screw-ups.
admit to their screw-ups instead of trying to sweep them under the rug.
Right. So, okay, someone who is mature.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there isn't a level of maturity here.
Okay.
There isn't that level of maturity. There are demonstrative points that she swears never happened that have been recorded, audio, video. I mean, where she says, I never said this, and yet you can see her actually saying it.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, when she was talking to the investigative committee regarding Benghazi.
Oh fuck! Here we go with Benghazi.
I'm not gonna go into it. Okay, but she made several statements to the committee about Benghazi. Now, during her candidacy, she's saying, "I never made those statements." The problem is there's audio and video evidence that she did. Not to mention, there's the transcript. Okay, there's a level of maturity that is lacking with her.
Why would you even lie about that? Why?
And unfortunately, it's not the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a major con in my mind. That is probably one of the biggest cons that she's got. Forget the fact that she's under investigation. Forget the fact that there's all this other stuff going. Forget even Benghazi, and that's a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
But forget even that. The fact that there's a lack of maturity there is the biggest con I can even think of as far as Clinton goes.
Yeah.
So, you've got that going, and then unfortunately, eventually you do wind up having to look at the fact that she is under investigation.
Yeah. I hate the Benghazi story because it was made into they made a mountain out of a molehill.
There's a lot more to it than most people realize. You've got people and because of the fact that I wasn't even referencing Benghazi when I said that she's under investigation. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
This isn't the email investigation we're talking about then?
This is the email investigation, but it's so Benghazi is actually the anthill in that investigation.
Okay.
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 With Benghazi, you've got people who are actually there that have testified under oath. No, we did ask for help. There, other people who are saying, no, we were within range to be able to supply support and aid. We were in range to be able to supply rescue.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that she's stating that there was nothing she could do is more and more coming out as demonstrably false.
Okay.
Okay, but that to the side, what she's under investigation for are the emails, and Benghazi is it's the email investigation only started because of Benghazi.
Mm-hmm.
It's become its own thing.
Okay.
Okay, mainly because of the fact that she had eyes-only information in her personal server that was not secured.
Here's my issue with this though. She's not the first person.
No.
And she's not going to be the last.
She's not the first person, and she's not going to be the last. But there is one thing that can be said about this, and that is the fact that to date, there has been no Secretary of State which has ever potentially compromised the United States or the security of the United States to the extent that she has. And this is based off of about 6 months worth of research specifically into this alone.
Okay.
Okay? There have been no other secretaries of state who have blatantly done what she did as Secretary of State. The investigation is actually now being carried out as a criminal investigation, and we have already had statements from people doing the investigation that they are seeing reason to bring charges.
Okay.
So there is a major con. Are we going to have a president embroiled in a criminal investigation? That already happened at least once that I can think of, and it led to him resigning the office of president. That was Tricky Dick.
Yeah.
Okay. So with Hillary, I had a friend of mine very tongue-in-cheek ask, well, if she becomes president, does she get to pardon herself? But the fact that even has to be asked, even tongue-in-cheek, is sort of a frightening thing to think about. Not like on the same level as, that's terrifying, but just it's a scary thing that you even have to ask that, even if it's tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
But so those are some pros and those are some cons as far as Hillary goes.
Okay, I can see those. So we're almost at about an hour right here. Jeez, we spent an hour just on the fucking Democrats.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So why don't we do this? Why don't we cut off the show here, and we'll continue this.
We'll pick up part 2.
We'll pick up part 2 when we do the Republicans. All right.
And I'm gonna get beat. He's coming. I'm telling you, folks, he's gonna come over the table at me on the Republican side. So you're not gonna want to miss it.
This is gonna be fun because I hate all the Republicans. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week. We'll have another brand new episode. Part 2 of this with the Republicans. You can find us online, facebook.com/untitlednonsense, twitter.com/UN_podcast. You can call us, leave messages. We'll play them on air. 603-267-0521. We'll talk to you soon.